know that great feeling you get when you take down all the decorations after the holidays? Suddenly your home feels so much bigger, it feels more spacious, it feels a lot less cluttered. Well, here are 10 things that you can declutter in the month of January to keep that good feeling going. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura and I help you live a simpler, happier, more spacious life. And each month I share 10 things that you can get rid of to keep that spacious feeling in your home, to take the guesswork out of what to get rid of, and to speed up your process to a clutter-free life. So the first 2 things on this list are more kind of like decluttering your mindset, and then we will get into the practical, physical things. So first up is what I like to call rollover resolutions. Essentially, these are the ones that you keep setting year after year. They just roll over from one January 1st to the next, even though you're not making significant progress on them. And I know you're thinking, well, I don't want to get rid of those resolutions. You know, those are still important to me. Yes, but clearly you have something else going on that is preventing you from achieving this goal, or something else that is just a higher priority for you. So instead of feeling guilty about it and constantly reminding yourself that you have failed at this in the past, which is not a great way to kind of set yourself up for success in the future, set those aside for now and focus on something else. You're not saying never, you're just saying not right now. Following on from that then, and I am definitely guilty of this one, it is thinking or expecting that you will become a brand new person on January 1st. That suddenly you will be full of all of the motivation, all of the boundless energy, the discipline. You will know everything you need to know and do everything you need to do, and everything will just be smooth and easy and plain sailing. Listen, if it were that easy, you'd be doing it all year round. It's why each year I do dry run December. It's so that in December I can get the ball rolling. You know, I can start to work on some of those habits so that when January 1st does roll around, I'm a little bit closer to where I want to be. But I know from lots of experience, unfortunately, that it's just not going to happen, that I'm going to wake up one morning, whether it be January 1st or any other morning, and suddenly be filled with boundless energy, boundless motivation, and all of the knowledge and experience I need to achieve my goals. Goals are a process. We all know that. It's time that we all accept that. Okay, let's move on to some more practical, physical stuff. You want to get rid of the old version of something that you have since upgraded to. Maybe you bought something new for Christmas or for the holidays. Maybe you were gifted something and now you have a newer version and you're still hanging on to the old version. So this could be phones, gadgets, you know, other devices, appliances, gizmos, all those types of things. Let's say, for example, you got a new kitchen mixer thing, technical term. Maybe there's someone out there who is just setting up a home for themselves. Maybe there's someone out there who is starting on their cooking or baking journey. They would love to have your old appliance, gadget, gizmo, mixer. They're at that stage where they don't want to splash out a lot of money, or they just can't splash out a lot of money. So being gifted something or finding something in a charity shop at a significant discount is going to be wonderful for them. So instead of hoarding things, like, this is something that helps me to let go of things all of the time. I understand, or I realize now, that by keeping it, even though I'm not using it, I'm depriving someone else of the joy of using it. For someone else, your old version will be an upgrade for them. Okay, let's deal with something that's always a little bit tricky, and that is leftover gifts. Now, I mean this in 2 different ways. So there could be gifts that you received that you really don't want, or it could be additional gifts that you bought, you know, to have some spare that you didn't actually end up gifting to anyone. We've all done it. We've all bought, you know, a bath set or something to keep just in case somebody gives us a last minute gift, that we have something to give back. But a lot of the time, the stuff just ends up sitting around. So in the case of something that was gifted to you that you don't want, if you've got a gift receipt for it, return it or maybe re-gift it to someone, or actually put it to use, turn it from an unwanted into an actual wanted, appreciated, used item, or you could just go ahead and donate it. And then for any additional gifts that you purchased that you didn't actually give to anyone, commit now to either gifting them to someone, and this doesn't have to be someone you know. It could be the local children's hospital, it could be a nursing home, it could be one of those blessing boxes or one of those community pantries. Each year before Christmas, I go and I put some gifts in there because I know that people not only want food around the holidays, which is normally what I donate, but coming up to Christmas, they may not be able to afford gifts for their kids. So I always try and put a few extra little bits in there. If you don't think that you could give to something like that, maybe you could just donate it, or if you still have the receipt, or if the shop will still do an exchange or a gift receipt or something, you could return it. Or hey, just use it yourself. But don't let all of those unwanted or leftover gifts lie around until next year. Next one had to be on the list. Let's face it, we need to declutter holiday or festive decorations or festive themed items. So it's not just all of the baubles and the lights and the tinsel and things, but also think festive themed napkins, tea towels, Santa hats, etc. Look at what didn't make it out of the box this year. Like, what did you just not want to put out? There's probably a good reason, and you're probably not going to want to put it out again next year. So save yourself the hassle and the space that is taking up, storing all of that stuff, and donate it or gift it to someone else. And let's face it, for that themed stuff, so all of the holiday books or the holiday pajamas, whether you get matching ones for all the family or maybe you just have some for your kids, chances are by the time next year rolls around, they will have outgrown that stuff. So don't let it hang around and take up space all year long. Get rid of it now. Plus, the themed stuff generally is very inexpensive, which means the quality not so good. Before you pack all of that stuff away, just get rid of it now. December you, or November you, if you decorate that early, will be very grateful that you did. Let's change tack a little bit and look at some digital clutter. The first on the list is holiday or festive themed apps or software. This time of year, a lot of people will download, Santa tracking apps, or those videos that like superimpose your face on the head of a dancing elf, all of those kind of fun ones. It could even be Instagram filters or anything like that, the festive themed ones, the ones that make it snow in front of your face. It could be, those best 9 apps that will curate your top 9 posts from that year. All of those types of things, clear them out now because you don't want them taking up space for the entirety of this year. Plus, it's a great time to clear out your cookies and your cache from your device so that all of the sites that you have visited, all of the things that you have downloaded, all of those companies and organizations are not going to be able to track you around the internet into this year. While you're at it, then get rid of any subscription services that you no longer want. So these could be streaming services, maybe something that you've signed up to that you find that you're just not watching, you're not using, you're not getting the benefit from. It could be a magazine or a newspaper that you subscribed to. A great way to find them all, and you'll be surprised by how many there are that you had completely forgotten about, is to go through recent bank statements. Weed out all of those little things that are draining your bank account dry, and if you're not using that service, if you're not loving that service, take that money back for yourself and either save it, invest it, or spend it on something that you would get more joy and more use from. It can be very eye-opening to see how much those services are actually costing you. So you might think, well, that's only costing me a few dollars a month. But when you actually add it up over the space of a year, that can be a much larger, eye-watering, staggering amount. Plus, if you've got multiple services, it's a few dollars here, a few dollars there, and those all add up very quickly. Do yourself a favor and unsubscribe from any that you're not getting more value out of than you're actually paying for the service. Speaking of unsubscribing, now is a great time to unsubscribe from all of those emails and newsletters that either you don't want in your inbox, but particularly the ones that actually tempt you to bring more clutter into your home. All of the stores that send you regular emails about the sales they have going on, or all of the new items that are in, maybe you signed up for some over the Black Friday or Cyber Monday weekend, and anything like that that is simply there to extract money from you. The amount of stuff that I have bought that I would not have bought otherwise, purely because an email about it landed in my inbox and all of a sudden I had to have that thing, or I had to take advantage of that sale. But let's be honest, we don't need that stuff. And also all of those emails, all of those newsletters are taking up precious time. Even if you don't actually open them and read them or skim through them, simply the fact that you have to delete them all on a regular basis, you don't need that in your life. Your time is much too precious to be spending like constantly just deleting emails. Unsubscribe once and for all, get them out of your life. Less time wasted and less money wasted on things that you just don't need. Keep the ones that bring you joy, the ones that you look forward to reading. Actually, that's a good exercise if you sit down now and list all of the emails that you get that you actually look forward to. You'll be surprised how many are not on that list, like how short that list is. That should give you a really good idea of the things that you actually want to see in your inbox, the things that you anticipate and look forward to. Everything else, just a distraction. Holy moly, it's hot in this hat. Also, I have a cold right now. It's not helping. But let's look at one more digital thing before we go back to physical things. This is something that I have a real problem with, and some of that is because it's part of my job, but the rest of it is just because I don't stay on top of it. It's photos and videos on your phone. Remember the old days when like the best photos would be framed and put on the mantelpiece, or they would go on the wall or whatever? These days, there's no incentive to only take good or great photos. We can take as many as we like, and that has become dangerous. Our phones are full of blurry photos, duplicate photos, or photos that just aren't special. Maybe they weren't even special at the time, or maybe they felt special in the moment and now are not. Screenshots is another one. I have so many screenshots on my phone, like things that are interesting, things that I might like to buy, things that I might like to send to someone else. I think the reality is that most of us don't actually look at the photos and videos on our phones because there are so many of them. They're so overwhelming. At least on the mantelpiece, like you were limited to those and you looked at them regularly. But on your phone, how often do you really scroll through all of the photos and videos on your phone? Probably not that often, unless you're looking for a specific one or for a specific time frame, you know, like when you were on holidays or something. Something I like to do at the end of each year is to go back through the photos and videos that I took that year and whittle them down, narrowing them all down to the most special, the most important ones. The ones that I would actually consider printing and putting on the mantelpiece. Back to the physical stuff then, let's talk leftover food. So you were probably hosting or just generally having bigger dinners than usual. Maybe you got in some extras just in case you had guests. Maybe you were trying out new recipes over the holiday season, but chances are over the holiday season, you bought more food than you actually consumed. Or if you live in a lovely neighborhood like ours, your neighbors will have gifted you lots of boxes of chocolates and cookies and things. If you know that you're not going to eat it, particularly before it expires, then donate it to a food pantry. If it's not in good condition, if it's already expired, because let's face it, some of us keep food sitting there all year long, then either trash it or, if you can, compost it. And then make a mental note not to buy that stuff again, because clearly you're just not using it. Also a great time if one of your resolutions is to quit junk food or just eat healthier. Get all of the tempting stuff out of your house now, because if it's sitting there, you're more likely to give in to temptation. I talk about this all the time, but it's setting up your environment for success. Like, how likely is it that you will succeed in your healthy eating journey if your cupboards are full of junky, processed, sugary foods? Now, if you want to up your decluttering game this year, then take my free 30-day decluttering challenge. It is 30 areas that you can declutter in 5 minutes or less. It's to get you those results that you want with minimal time and effort. You can dive straight in right here, and until then, Gurev Mila Magwev. Agus fegi me shifty galua. Slán!